Hello everyone, welcome back to our Python programming course. In the previous lecture, we learned how to take input from the user and how to make our first decision using the if statement. We also briefly introduced the else statement. So today, we'll build on that knowledge. By the by the end of this lecture, you will be able to write programs that choose between multiple outcomes based on different conditions. Let's begin with a simple question. So, before starting, let's create a new file called python lecture 4.py. Now, now let's begin. Let's begin with a simple question. Suppose we write a program age is equals to int input, enter your age, then if age greater than is equals to 18, print you are eligible to vote. So let's see. We need to give our age. So if I give 20, the output is you are eligible to vote. Now let's take the second case, that is 15. Noticed something? When the age is 20, the program works perfectly. But when the age is 15, nothing happens. The user doesn't know why no message appeared. So instead of leaving the user confused, we should tell them what happened. That's exactly why we use the else statement. The else block runs whenever the condition inside the if statement is false. We have discussed it in the previous lecture also, but we are revising it in the lecture so that we can understand the upcoming concepts properly. So, in simple words, if the condition is true, execute one block, otherwise, execute the second one. We have already seen the else syntax. So, let's let's understand and do some programs using that. So if I write age is equals to int input, enter your age, then if age is greater than is equals to 18, print eligible to vote, else print not eligible to vote. So let's execute this. Now if I give the same inputs 20, so eligible to vote. Now if I give now if I give 15, We will also get that you are not eligible to vote. So, not eligible to vote. Now, this was the first practice program I gave to you. Now, let's move to the second one. We will be checking that a number is even or odd. So, let's take the input. Number is equals to int input, enter a number, then if number percentage 2 is equals to 0, print the number is even. Else print the number is odd. So, the percentage operator in the second line gives us the remainder after division. If a number leaves a remainder of 0 when divided by 2, it's an even number. Like, if I divide 4 by 2, the remainder is 0. If I divide 8 by 2, the remainder is 0. Likewise, if I divide any even number by 2, the remainder should be 0. So, in the same way, if I check that if remainder is equals to 0, the number is even. That is the condition we need to check. Remember this double equals to operator equals to. It basically checks the number in the right side is equal to the left side or not. So the number in the right side is 0 and the number in the left side would be the remainder after dividing the number by 2. So if it is also 0, so 0 is equals to 0 is true. So the if condition would be true, and so this block of statement would be executed. And if this condition is false, this will be ignored. Instead, the else part will be executed. So let's execute this and understand. The number I would give is 89. Now we know this is odd. Let's enter this and the number is odd. Why? Because 89, when you divide 89 by 2, the remainder is not 0. So this condition is false. So this is not executed. Instead, this is executed. Now if I run the same code once again and if I give 80, this number is even, we know. Yes. So if you divide 80 by 2, the remainder is 0. While this condition is true, this gets printed. So I hope you have understood this program. We have used the if-else concept over here and the comparison operator too, and this is one of the mathematics or say arithmetic operator we'll be learning further. Now pause the video, write a program that asks the user for their marks. If the marks are above 40, print pass, otherwise print fail. This was one of the questions I gave you in the previous lecture as practice question. Now if you have not done it, you need not worry, you can do it right now. Try it with different values before continuing the further lecture. Now so far our program has only two choices. Either one thing happens or another. But what if there are more than two possibilities? Let's look at a real life example. Suppose you are grading students. Should everyone above 40 receive exactly the same message? Probably not. A student scoring 95 deserves a different grade than someone scoring 45. We need both the two choices. Instead, we need more than two choices. That's where the if, elif, else statement comes in. The word elif means else if. It allows Python to check another condition if the previous one was false. Python checks the condition one by one from top to bottom. As soon as it finds a true condition, it executes that block and ignores the rest. So let's see what is the syntax of if, elif and else statement. So if condition 1, then statement then elif condition 2 statement then else statement notice the order. Python checks the first condition. If it isn't true, it checks the second one. Then if the second is also false, then the else block runs. Let's understand this thing with a simple example. Now, marks is equals to int input enter your marks if marks is greater than is equals to 90, print grade A. Elif marks greater than is equals to 80, print grade B. Elif marks greater than elif marks greater than is equals to 70, print grade C. Elif marks greater than is equals to 40, print grade D. Else print fail. So this is the program we wrote right now. Now let's break down before executing this. So in the first statement we are taking input, we are taking the marks as input. Then we are checking if the marks is greater than is equals to 90. If this condition is true, grade A is printed. If this condition is false, the compiler moves to the second condition, that is marks greater than is equals to 80. If this is true, then grade B is printed and the remaining three are ignored. And if this is also false, this is also false, the compiler moves to the third condition, that is marks greater than is equals to 70. If this is true, the output is grade C. Now if this is also false, then it moves to the marks, it moves to the next condition, that is marks greater than is equals to 40. Again, if this is true, grade D is printed. Now the last case, if all the four conditions over here fails, it will go to the else statement and run the else part. Now let's understand with some examples. So now if I give my marks as 95, I should see grade A to be printed. And yes, it's grade A. Now if again I run and I give 84, so this condition gets true. 84 is greater than is equals to 80. But is not greater than is equal. So 84 is not greater than or is equals to 90. So this is false. So the compiler checks the second condition over here. 84 greater than is equals to 80. Yes, this is correct. So compiler will ignore this 3 and then it will print grade B. And yes, we are getting grade B. Now let's take the third example, that is 72. Now we are getting grade C. Why? Because 72 is greater than is equals to 90. This is false. 72 is greater than is equals to 80. This is again false. Now 72 is greater than is equals to 70. This is true. So grade C gets printed and the rest two conditions are ignored. Now let's take the fourth example, that is 48. Let's take 48. So grade D we are getting because 48 is greater than is equals to 90. This is false. Again, this is false. This is false. But 48 greater than is equals to 40. The fourth condition gets true. So grade D is printed. Now let's take the last example. So now if I give marks less than 40, let's take 39, the output should be fail. And yes, we are getting the same thing. So now we have learned how to use the if, elif, else statement to make multiple decisions. We have also created a great calculator. Now let's understand one of the most important concepts related to the if, elif, else statement. That concept is the order of conditions. Many beginners make a common mistake while writing if, elif, else programs. Let's intentionally make that mistake and see what happens. So let's rewrite this program with the mistake. Marks is equals to int input, enter your marks, if marks greater than is equals to 40, print u, or let's say print grade D. Elif marks greater than is equals to 70, print grade C. Then elif marks greater than is equals to 80, print grade B. Then elif marks greater than is equals to 90, print grade. Then the last statement is else, print fail. Now let's run this program and then we'll understand what is the mistake that we are doing. So let's give the user input as 95. Now previously we gave 95, the result was grade A. Now let's see what's the mistake and what's the output. We are getting grade D. Wait a second. The student scored 95 marks. Shouldn't the grade be A? Why did Python print grade D? Let's understand. Python starts checking condition from the top. The first condition is 95 greater than or equals to 40? Yes. So Python prints grade D and immediately stops checking the remaining condition. It never reaches grade C, grade B or grade A. This teaches us an important rule. Python always executes the first condition that becomes true. So whenever you write an if, elif, else program, place the highest priority condition first, followed by the lower priority conditions. So let's correct this code. 90 grade A, 80 grade B, then 70 grade C, then and then we'll be cutting it off, then 40 grade D. Now that was the correct program. Now pause the video, run both the versions of the program, the correct one and the incorrect one. Observe how changing only the order of conditions completely changes the output. Let's look at another real world example. Suppose we want to create a simple traffic signal program. Let's first write the program. Signal is equals to input, enter traffic signal color. Now if signal is equals to red, print stop. Elif signal is equals to yellow, print ready to let's write print get ready. Then elif signal equals to green, print go. Then the last condition, print invalid signal. let's run this program and let's see what's the output we get. So if I give red, it's stop. Then if I give green, it should be go. Yes. Now if I give yellow, I'll get ready. Now the conditions. Now in the conditions we have mentioned red, yellow and green. But what if I give black? According to the traffic's rule, black is an invalid signal. So you're getting that only. Yes, we are getting invalid signal. So note so noticed something. Earlier we were comparing numbers. Now we are comparing text. The if, elif, else statement works with both. Let's break down the thing I said right now. So remember, previously we were comparing numbers over here. 10 is equals to 20, age equals to 18 or greater than equals to 18. So basically we were comparing, we were using comparison operators between numbers. But we can actually use comparison operators in string formats also. So here the signal will store the string or the input the user will give. Either it will be red, either it will be yellow, either it will be green, or either any color except this three. Now if this matches with this, the if condition gets true, this one, so stop gets printed. Likewise, if it is yellow, then this condition will be true, and so the output would be get ready. Now if signal or the user input is green, so green is equals to green, this condition is true, so the output will be go. Now if none of these conditions are true, the last condition or the else part will be executed. So are we getting the concepts clear? Now let's classify people into different age groups. This is one of the most interesting program, or this is, so let's classify people into different age groups. This is our next program. So let's write that program, and side by side you can also try this. You need to classify between four groups. So the first group is below 13, that is child, then it is less than 20, that is teenager, then less than 60, that's an adult, and you will be, and the remaining or the person greater than 60 should be senior citizen. So let's take the user input. So int input, enter your age, then if age is less than 13, print child. Now elif age less than 20, print teenager. Now elif age less than 60, print adult. Then the last one, print senior citizen. So have you understood this program? Let's first execute and then we'll be breaking down this program. So if I give my age as, let's take 6, or let's take 5. So 5 is less than 13. So the first condition itself is true. So the compiler will ignore the rest three conditions and will print the or will execute the block inside the if condition. So let's see what's the output. The output is child, and that's what we were expecting. Now let's take different input, that is 18. Now 18 is less than 13. No, this condition is false. Hence the if condition is false, and therefore the compiler won't execute the print statement inside the if block. So it will move to the second condition check, or the second statement elif, that is age less than 20. Now 18 is less than 20, so the compiler will execute the print teenager statement and therefore ignore the remaining two conditions. So what's the desired output? Teenager, right? Let's enter and see. Yes, the output is teenager. Now let's take the third case, that is less than 60. So if I give 58, so 58 is less than 13, this is false. So it ignores the print child statement, then it checks the next condition, that is 58 less than 20. This is also false, so it again ignores the print teenager statement. Now it goes to the third condition, and if 58 is less than 60, yes, this is true. So the compiler will execute that print adult statement. So the desired output would be adult. And yes, we are getting the output as adult only. Now let's take the last case, that is my age is 95, for example. So the first condition is false, the second is false, the third is false. Therefore the remaining else part gets executed. So if I am giving my age as 95, what should I get? Senior citizen. Let's see. Yes, we are getting our output as senior citizen. Now you might be thinking that why aren't we writing this? Why aren't we writing this as the second condition? If the program reaches the second condition, it already knows the first condition was false. That means the age is already greater than 13 or equals to 13. Writing age greater than is equals to 13 again is unnecessary. This makes our code shorter and easier to, this makes our code lengthier and complex. While the first one that we wrote is this one, makes our code shorter and easier to read. Now let's take one more example. Imagine you are shopping online. Different purchase amounts receive different discounts. So we'll create a discount calculator. Now let's write the program. So side by side you can also write this program. I will tell what is the conditions. Now if your total amount is greater than is equals to 50,000, the discount you will be receiving is 20%. And if the amount is greater than is equals to 3,000, the discount you will be receiving is 10%. If the amount or the shopping amount is greater than or is equals to 1,000, you will be receiving 5% as discount. And if the amount is less than 1,000, then you aren't going to get any discount. So this is our program. Let's build the logic. Now we'll take the first thing we'll do is we'll take user input. So our bill can be of decimal, so our bill can also have decimal. part. So we'll use float as our data type. So float input, enter the shopping amount. If amount greater than is equals to 5000, print congratulations, you received a 20% discount. Now let's give elif amount greater than is equals to 3000, print congratulations, you received a 10% discount. Next, elif amount greater than is equals to 1000, print congratulations, you received a 5% discount. Next, the else part. Else print sorry, no discount. Now let's check. So my first input would be 6500. So this satisfies the first condition, that is 6500 is greater than is equals to 5000. So what's the output? The output should be congratulations, you received a 20% discount. Let's see. Yes, we got, you received a 20% discount. Now I'll be checking the second case, that is 3200. So 3200 is greater than is equals to 3000. So the output should be congratulations, you received a 10% discount. Yes, we got that. Now let's check the third case, that is 1500. Now 1500 is greater than or equals to 5000. This condition is false, therefore this is ignored. 1500 is greater than or equals to 3000. Again this is false, so this print statement is ignored. Now 1500 is greater than 1000. This statement is true. Therefore the output should be congratulations, you received a 5% discount. And yes, we are getting this desired output. Now let's take the else part. So if I give the end, so if I give my input as 500, so this condition gets false, this is false, this is false, so all the above three conditions are false. Now what would the compiler do? It will simply move to the else part and print the else block, or execute the statements in the else block. So it will print sorry, no discount. So let's enter this and see what's the output. And yes, we got sorry, no discount. So basically this program checks the purchase amount and automatically decides which discount should be applied. Now we will do a quick quiz. I'll write a program and I'll ask questions to you, and you need to give the correct answer. So, age is equals to 45 if age greater than 13 or say less than 13, print child. L if age less than 20, print teenager. L if age less than 60, print adult. Else print senior citizen. Now pause the video and see, or say let's or predict what will be the output. Once you have predicted, write it in the comment section and then restart the video and check if your answer is correct or not. If not, see why or see what concept were you missing, because see what is wrong with your answer and why you gave the wrong answer. So have you all predicted the output? So let's check what's the output. So the output is adult. If you all have got this answers correct, congratulations everyone. You are now going to move to the next part. But sometimes one decision depends on another decision. Sometimes one decision depends on another decision. For example, a user enters the correct password. Only after the password is correct do we check whether the user is an administrator. In situations like this, we use nested if statements. Let's learn that. Let's now learn nested. Imagine you are logging into your college portal. First, the system checks whether your username and password are correct. If they are not correct, the login stops immediately. But if they are correct, the system performs another check. It checks whether you are a student, a faculty, or an administrator. Noticed something? The second decision is made only after the first decision is successful. This type of situation is handled using nested if statements. A nested if simply means an if statement inside another if statement. In other words, if I say one decision contains another decision. So let's see what's the syntax of nested if. So if condition 1, if condition 2 statement. A nested if syntax. Notice the indentation again. The second if is written inside the first if. This means the second if condition is checked only if the first condition is true, or else it will move to the else part of this if. Now let's understand this with an example. Suppose a student can get admission only if they pass the entrance exam, they submitted all required documents. So let's write this program. So passed exam is equals to true. documents submitted is equals to true if passed exam, if documents submitted print admission approved. Now observe closely. So we have stored true as the boolean value in a boolean data type called passed exam, and similarly documents submitted is one of the boolean data type again, and it is storing the boolean data true again. So if passed exam, the third statement, if passed exam, so if passed exam is true, then this condition is true basically. So the compiler moves into the second or the if block or the if condition 2. So documents submitted, this is also true. So if this is true, the compiler moves to this if, and now if this is also true, the print admission approved statement is executed. So let's see what's the output. The output is admission approved, but if one of them is false, what would happen? The first condition, if passed exam, this is true, this part is true, it will enter in this if block, but this gets false, so this is not printed, so there would be no output. So let's check what's the output we are getting. So yes, we are getting nothing as the output. Now if this is false, and this is true, the same thing would happen. If passed exam, this condition is only false, so it won't enter in this, it won't check this part, so there should be no output. So there should be no output, and yes, there isn't any output. Now let's understand with one more example. Let's create a simple login system. We'll assume the correct username is admin and the correct password is 1234. So let's write the username is equals to admin and the correct password would be 1 2 3 and 4. So let's write the program. Username is equals to input, enter your user name, then password, input, enter your password. If username is equals to admin, if password is equals to 1 2 3 and 4, print login successful. So let's break down this. So we are taking username and password as user input. Now we had set this, we had assumed username to be admin and password to be 1 2 3 4. Now if we check, we are checking in this that if username the user is entering is equals to admin and Again, it checks the second condition, that if the password the user enters is 1234, the login successful is the message the, as the output. So let's see. If I give username as admin, so it goes to the second, enter your password. Now if I give 1 2 3 and 4, the output should be login successful. And yes, we got the same thing, but if we experiment, if we do something different, like if I give language, if for let us give student as the username, and the password if I give is 1 2 3 and 4, what should be the output? The output should be nothing. And yes, that's what we are getting. Now let's experiment with one more thing. If I give admin as my username, but the password I give is 8901, that is not the correct password, again it should not give any output to me, and that's correct. Now let's improve this program. Users should also know why the login failed. So we'll add else part over here. So else print incorrect password, and then the outer else will print incorrect username. Now let's first execute, and then we will again break down this whole code. So if I give admin and password as 1234, the output is login successful. Now if I give admin and password as 41, we are getting incorrect password. Now if I give Rahul as the username, and if I give the password as 1234, we are getting incorrect username. Noticed how the second if runs only when the username is correct? This is exactly why nested if is useful. So let's break down one more thing, that is, when I give 41 or 1111 as the output, or 1111 as the password, it directly gives me incorrect password. That is due to this else statement. Let's understand the workflow. I give the username, that is admin, then if I give password as 1 1 1 and 1, it checks if the username is admin, so it gets correct. So this condition is true. The compiler moves to the second condition and checks if the password is equals to 1 2 3 or 4. Now for this password, that is 1 1 1 and 1, this condition is false, so this if block is ignored and the compiler moves to the second else block. Now this if was true, so it entered here, but this is false, so it entered here. So the output we'll get is incorrect password. Now once the compiler has entered the if block, it will ignore this else block. This is the outer else and this is the inner else. This is the else of this if, and this is the else of this if part. Now see the last input I gave, that is Rahul. Now when I gave Rahul as the username, this condition itself gets false, so the compiler directly ignores this whole part and moves to the direct else part and will directly print incorrect username. So this is basically the workflow. Now, let's build one final program, that is ATM eligibility check. So let's write the program. Card inserted is equals to true. Pin correct is equals to true. Now if card inserted, if pin correct, print transaction allowed, else print incorrect pin. Now the second else print please insert your card. Now let's see. So I got transaction allowed when I executed this code. So let's break down the whole thing. So I stored true in card inserted and then true in pin correct. These are the two boolean variables. So we are storing boolean data types true. So when I am checking, observe the third statement, if card inserted. Card inserted has true, or card inserted stores true. So if true, so the condition over here is true. So if this is true, the compiler will get into this. It will check this if statement. Now pin correct also stores true. So this condition also becomes true. So if this is true, this gets printed. Now if this gets printed, this else part is ignored and even this else part is ignored. So how will I get this as the output when my pin correct, or say this condition, gets false? So pin correct is equals to false. If I write this as false, what would be the new output? The output should be incorrect pin. Let's run it again, and yes, the output is incorrect pin. I hope this you have understood this. Now I want this as the output. Now how will I get this as the output? I will get this as the output if this condition gets false. See, card inserted is equals to true right now I have given. So if I write false over here, and if I check the output again, the output is please insert your card. Now if this condition is false, irrespective of this condition, or this condition to be true or false, it will still execute this part and will totally ignore this if statement. So the compiler only executes the nested if, or the part I am right now selecting, that if pin correct only gets executed, or only the compiler gets into this block of code if this condition is true. If this condition, or the condition 1, is false, it directly executes this part. So I hope this nested if concept is clear to you all. Now pause the video and solve these problems. So the first program is ask the user for a username and password, then display appropriate message using nested if. Now we have already done this program. Now the second program for you all to practice is create a college admission program. This also we have done. Now the last one is the one we did right now. Create an ATM verification program. Now we have already done these three programs, so you need to create these three programs and need to experiment things, need to check what are the outputs for different inputs. And if you have any doubt, you can rewind the video, see these three programs, and then understand whatever you were not understanding. Now this is what we have done. Now your work, except these three programs, would be writing the or building three mini projects. The first one is movie ticket checker. What this will do, it will ask the user's age, if the age is above is 18 or above, then it will ask whether they have an ID card. If yes, print ticket booked. Else, print ID required. So this is the first mini project. Now moving on to the second one, that is online shopping. Here ask the user if they are a premium member. If yes, ask whether the purchase amount is above 2000. If both the conditions are true, then print free express delivery. So now the last mini project, that is library system. So this is one of the most basic one, that is ask whether the student has library card. If yes, ask whether the the book is available, and then print appropriate messages based on the conditions. Now, these are the three mini projects you need to complete. So, let's summarize the whole lecture. So, we have learned how if else works, how if else handles multiple conditions, why the order of conditions matters, what nested if statements are, how nested if statements are used in real world programs such as login systems, ATMs, and college admissions. From this point onwards, you have all the basic decision making tools you'll need in Python. So, we have come to the end of this lecture. So, first of all, congratulations everyone. Decision making is one of the most important concepts in programming, and we have already understood that. In the next lecture, we will move to another powerful topic, that is loops. We will learn how to repeat tasks automatically using the while loop and the for loop instead of writing the same code again and again. Until then, complete the homework, practice all the examples, and try changing the conditions to see how the output changes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next lecture.